The method you are about to be shown is recommended for any minor cracks or broken clips, but is not recommended if the air intake hose is broken near the throttle body. It's better to replace that portion of hose if it's broken near the throttle body, since the self-fusing tape we're going to use won't grab a good hold. The method shown will save money, but it's best to periodically check on your handiwork. It's a great product, but better safe than sorry. Luckily, we know what the symptoms are. A rough idle, so if it comes back, it'll be obvious that the first thing to check is the air intake. Now, time to repair the hose. Step 1. Remove engine covers. On all of the covers, there's a variety of either plastic flathead screws or Torx screws. Starting with the left-hand side, we remove the flathead screw. You can pop it underneath to get it out. There's also a plastic screw here that a short Phillips head makes short work of. There's a screw here, mine's missing.
T25. T20.
On the right hand side, there's a screw here that you can't see me undo thanks to iPhone's autofocus, but we can see the empty spot.
There should be one over here that you move in the same way. This is T25.
Handy toy, came in handy for the Boxster bumper too, link in the description. I wanted to show here, like in all my other shots, how it's easy, smooth, and step by step, but for some steps you do have to wiggle it to get it out from under the trim. Don't despair if it's not straightforward.
Should be fasteners here and here.
My air intake hose is broken, so you don't see clips on the right hand side here, but first press in on the clips that should be on this hose, holding this mass airflow sensor unit of hose, and pop it out. It might take some force. Disconnect the electronic connector by pushing on the tab and pulling the connector out. And lastly, this also might take some force, pull out the sensor housing. It has the sensor inside. Removing the rest of the air intake hose. We can undo the two clips holding the engine air filter cover on, which is attached to the air intake hose, and that will make removing the rest of the hose simpler in the next step. Detaching the air intake hose from the air filter cover. In theory, to take the engine air filter cover off, it's supposed to be straightforward. You're supposed to turn the Torx pins at the top 180 degrees so that they're 180 degrees from the black plastic dots. However, mine got stuck. I'm glad I pulled the assembly, including the hose.
Kind of stuck, so I'm going from the bottom, because mine comes pre-busted. And to get it the rest of the way out, I'll just use a professional poking device. I just pushed it the rest of the way out using a screwdriver. These are what they look like. Like that. The hose just pops straight off. Nice.
Fixing the air intake hose. You might have difficulty reconnecting the air intake hose. You'll have an easier time applying some lubricant. Apparently WD-40 is not the best choice, but will work in a pinch to lubricate the gasket enough to get the hose back on. Apparently, silicone lubricant can contaminate things. Regardless of your choice of lubricant or spray, after you've done your research for whichever spray you prefer, take a small amount and apply it on the gasket. That will let you slip it on much easier. To seal the hose, I used self-fusing silicone tape because the tape was $10 and the hose was simply missing a clip, and is $70 for a new hose. Self-fusing tape seems to be a hit and miss for submerged applications based on its reviews, but great for a light-duty air seal. As long as it's stretched tightly, it quote-unquote activates and bonds to itself. Reinstallation.
So then reinstalling these Torx bits, it's not that much of a challenge. You just reinsert this hose, making sure to actually pass the MAF sensor behind it first. Plug these bad boys in, plug the MAF in while you're at it, and you have easy access. And then reinstall the Torx T30, guys. It's easy installation. And they just push in like so. Twist these both 180 so they match up and are in the locked position at the top. This hose ain't going nowhere. Neither is this connection. This goes on first. It's a tough hose. Let me just twist it into position. This into position. Whip out our trusty 7mm. Tighten the clamp without over tightening it. To reinstall the trim, we start with this bottom right piece and insert it such that it matches up with the hole here, like so. Likewise, then we continue with the bottom left piece so that this hole matches up here and this hole matches up to the top left. Next, we reinstall this trim piece under the rubber gasket so that it matches at the top right, like so, and at the bottom left with the trim piece here. We also want to line up this filler cap and reinstall it as soon as we can with a T20 because it is wobbly and makes me nervous. We reinstall the cap and we can put this cover back on. Give it the same attention. Matching up the trim pieces like so, and reinstalling the cover like so. Tabs match up. We'll go around where they do hold. Reinstalling them. Two go here if you had the clips that hold them. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4 Torx